Why Japan has experienced a shift in their security policy? What is the main threat faced by the Japan? So in recent times, Japan has experienced a huge change in their security policy due to the emerging threat. So Japan is the third largest economy in the world. So Japan now plan to spend around 1% of their GDP to the defense in for the year 2023, and they are also outlined a plan to spend 2% of their GDP to the defense by 2025. It is due to deter the emerging threat. I mean, the main threat faced by the Japanese, they are bounded by three main aggressors of Japan. One is North Korea, China and Russia. So these are the three nuclear powers threatening the regional security of Japan. So while going to the topic, first we have to see what is the main policy of Japan, security policy of Japan before. During the Second World War, Japan is the main aggressor. So they have involved in various human rights violation. So Japan is the main imperial aggressor during the Second World War. But by the end of the Second World War, the US have dropped the Hiroshima Nagasaki. In Hiroshima Nagasaki, they have dropped the nuclear bomb that have Japan have faced severe consequences in the Hiroshima Nagasaki region. Till now, they are facing the consequences also. But after the Second World War, so around 7 years, Japan was under the control of US. So during that time, US helped in framing the Japan constitution. So US had a huge influence on the Japan till now, even in the Japan constitution. For example, Article 9 of the Japan terms Japan as a pacifist country. Pacifist means they forever renounce the war. They don't like the war. So Japan people till now, Japan government, they, according to the Article 9, they believe that even many international dispute occur, we should not enter into war. We should solve the dispute through peaceful means. I mean, through the diplomacy kind of thing, but we should not involve in war. So right from the beginning, Japan is under the military protectorate of US. I mean, in 1960, Japan have signed a security agreement with US. In that agreement, it have hinted that US can establish their military bases in Japan, because till now Japan was under the umbrella of US security. So US committed to secure the Japan from the regional threat or from various threats, because Japan people believe that we don't want any offensive forces or offensive defense, because we have faced various consequences even in the Second World War. So we don't want any offensive forces. So US also took advantage of the situation. Until now, US was the main guardian of the Japan's security. But now the Japan's legislatures, I mean Japan member of parliament, have the people have raised a question to them. So how long the US can deter the threat from these three main enemies, whether they can deter the threat by using, because they questioning the US defense power. Of course, US is the largest exporter of the weapons, and they are the huge military power. But due to the emerging threat, Japan believed that they are also going to develop their weapons or to upgrade their defense self-sufficiently, because it is the need of the hour. The shift in their security and foreign policy have changed drastically after when Shinzo Abe came to power. So the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe came to power in 2008, and during his second period, I mean from 2012 to 2020, he ruled Japan. So during that time, he have introduced various reforms in Japan's security policy and even the foreign policy. In 2014, he reinterpreted the Article 9 of the Japan Constitution. Article 9 announced Japan as pacifist country. So he reinterpreted, but till now it is not amended. But because he reinterpreted to include various reforms. Till now, Japan forces is called self-defense force. It is called a self-defense force. So because due to the Article 9 pacifist constitution, while reinterpreting the constitution, I mean to amend, after the amendment only, Japan can introduce other reforms which is need for there to deter the emerging threat. So now the Japan self-defense force gave more powers. I mean, they have like transforming into an offensive counter military. So now they have changed from defensive to offensive counter military due to the threats faced by Japan, that is posed by the China, threats posed by the China. And 2015 they have introduced a legislation in their parliament. So the reforms made by the Japan were involving their security were increasing recently around a decade. And now Fumio Kishida came to power. Fumio Kishida also introduced various reforms. For example, last month in December, Japan has outlined another national security strategy. It termed China's greatest strategic challenge ever, and North Korea's imminent threat faced by the Japan ever. Because China is the greatest security challenge. Japan have dispute with China in the Senkaku Island. So there is in before a year there exists a war of words between Japan and China in about the Senkaku Island. And also today China is threatening the Taiwan that they are going to accept the Taiwan as a part of their country. But Japan is the huge supporter of US, and Japan they are saying that Taiwan is a independent country, not belongs to Japan. So Japan wants to bolster their military, because the reports are saying by 2027 the China will involve in war against Taiwan, and they are going to accept the Taiwan as a part of them. So the Japan have to bolster their military. And North Korea, many countries are facing threat by North Korea. So now, before a month ago, North Korea has tested an intercontinental ballistic missile in the region, and the intercontinental ballistic missile, the missile have landed near the territorial waters of Japan. That raised security concerns on Japan. And right from the beginning, the Russia is the enemy of Japan, and even Japan and Russia have a dispute with the Kuril Islands. Both have a disputed region in the Kuril Islands. And after the Russia invaded the Ukraine, so Japan's security is largely threatened. That is why the Japan has changed their security policy. Now they are outlined a new security policy. So now Japan has shifted their policy from pacifist idealism to proactive pacifism. So Fumio Kishida, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, have termed it beautifully realism diplomacy for the new era. So this terms it all about the Japan's recent move, because Japan is a liberal country, kind of liberal ideology country, and even the Fumio Kishida is belongs to the Liberal Democratic Party, and he is a liberalist. Even though the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe belongs to the Liberal Democratic Party, but he belonged to the conservative faction. So that only he have introduced various reforms in defense. But now Fumio Kishida is also a liberalist, but he have introduced a various security policy that needs to address the concerns, which is saying that Japan is under various threat. That is the reason behind the introduction of various reforms in the security policy. So let's see what will happen in the future. Thank you.